It's time for On Point, where we speak to experts to delve deeper into some of the key issues in the spotlight right now. U.S. Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen is currently in South Korea to discuss economic bilateral ties. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol greeted her personally at his office yesterday to discuss the two countries' alliance and a potential expansion beyond a military relationship to a comprehensive alliance.
So what are some of the key issues that the two discussed, and also what was on her agenda when speaking to other key economic figures in Seoul? For more, we connect with Professor YANG Hee-dong from Ewha Womans University. A very good morning to you, Professor.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, lovely to see you. And well, firstly, President Yoon and Secretary Yellen, they met on Tuesday to discuss expanding the current alliance into a more comprehensive one. And in the context of Seoul and Washington's evolving bilateral ties where security and economic issues are now converging, how significant is it that a U.S. Treasury Secretary spoke with the South Korean president on this?
Well, first of all, we should, we should really recognize that Janet Yellen is not the Secretary of Foreign Affairs or the Secretary of Defense. She is in charge of economic affairs in the United States. So the major purpose for her visit to Korea, actually twofold. The first one is she needs to deal with the hyperinflation, threat in the United States and also in the global economy. And second one is she wants to, strengthen the ties for the sake of supply chain resilience. So those are two major purposes for her visit to Korea. And I do believe that Janet Yellen has a very good job, because we are moving forward to the season of winter, and also the COVID-19, it seems to resurge, at least in the Asian countries, which are very, very fragile in terms of supply chain, the operations. So I think it is the right time for a visit to Asia, not just for the sake of the foreign affairs, but also for the sake of the economic resilience and, bolstering the supply chain resilience for the sake of global economy.
Right, and for the sake of the economy, one of our first stops was at an LG campsite. What does this really mean for South Korean companies or South Korea as a country?
Okay, well, first of all, we need to understand the many different types of shoring. The shoring starts from the concept of offshoring. Offshoring means lots of manufacturing firms wanted to send their factory lines to overseas, where they can get labor costs and also the currencies or the resources at very cheap prices. But due to the significant threat in China, which is regarded as the major source of the global factory lines, had cast a lot of threats in global economy due to their shutdown during the COVID pandemic. So for the past 3 years or 5 years, the United States government tried to, create a new project called reshoring. Reshoring means they want to call back their factory lines back to the United States. But even though the reshoring has caused a lot of very positive impacts in the American economy, but they wanted to strengthen the ties with their partner countries. It's called by friendshoring. So friendshoring is somehow involved with the foreign affairs the policy, due to recent threats from Russia and China. So why the Janet Yellen visited the LG Chem during her visit? Because LG Chem declared to invest more than $11 billion in the United States through their cooperation with American firms, including General Motors. It's not just about the export of their batteries, but also investing in the United States to build up new factory lines that cause a lot of employment in the United States. This is big business in the United States, not just for the sake of streamlining their supply chain management, particularly for the EV, electric vehicle batteries, but also increasing their employment rate in certain areas such as Tennessee, Michigan, and Ohio, etc. Those areas, that are very, very strong, very positive areas for the Democrats. So, what Korea could earn from this, very strong bilateral alliance between the United States and Korea. Korea also is struggling with a very lackluster economic, the situation these days. Our growth rate was expected to reach about 2.7%, but many people, the forecast that the growth rate will be lower than 2.3 or 2.1. So we need some stimulus, not just from the domestic market, but also from the overseas market. And this is strengthening, the ties with the United States, at least for the sake of the EV batteries, could work at the start point to revigorate our Korean economy, but also increasing this initiative into many other areas, including semiconductors, so that the Korean economy will be regarded as a strong source of new supply chain operations for the American factories or American companies.
I see, and Professor, well, another hot topic that was discussed was, the potential currency swap that's believed to have been discussed by the two officials. And well, with the US dollar having shown a lot of strength over most currencies, including the South Korean won, and well, could you elaborate on why local sentiment pointed to this as a means of resolving the exchange rate situation?
Well, the current swap is very temporary policy between two countries to support or to increase the liquidity, particularly for the US dollars. So Korean government has made a contract for this current swap with many countries, including China. With the United States, we used to have the current swap up to $60 billion between August last year through December last year. So now the current swap with the United States up to $60 billion expired. We may need to recover that, the swap, the current swap, because due to the interest rate changes in the United States and in Korea, our base rate has become 2.25. But tomorrow, the Federal Reserve Bank will announce new base rate, and many people expect that they will make another giant step, increasing by 0.75%. The new base rate will be about 2.5%, which is 0.25% point higher than Korean base rate. That means a lot of foreign currency will flow from Korea back to the United States. That's why our exchange rate has increased up to $1,400 per $1,401 per dollar. So we need more dollars. But the problem is the currency swap is not the job of the Department of Treasury. That's the job of Federal Reserve Bank. But Janet Yellen used to be the leader chairperson of Federal Reserve Bank for the 2 years between 2016 through 2018. So she made some influence on the decision of the Federal Reserve Bank about the recovering the currency swap. Even though it's not officially, published that the Korean government has asked for recovery of a currency swap, but many people think that the currency swap will be recovered in the very near future, and it really helped to calm down the fluctuating the exchange rate between the Korean won and the US dollars.
That's right. I mean, it's a sensitive topic for both of them, especially if Secretary Janet Yellen is not in charge of the topic.
Right.
But it was certainly something that the two countries maybe have to agree on to resolve the currency exchange rate situation right now. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you for inviting me.
Have a good morning.
Have a good day.